Good evening and welcome to Spotlight with me, Palki Sharma Upadhyay. This Republic Day will be a show of diplomatic strength for India. Troops from the UAE will march alongside ours, showing stronger strategic partnership between the two countries. The Crown Prince of UAE is being hosted as the chief guest. Ahead of the big day, NewsX's Foreign Affairs editor Geeta Mohan spoke exclusively to the UAE ambassador to India, Ahmad Al-Banna. He talked about extending full cooperation on nabbing Dawood Ibrahim. He also lashed out at Pakistan without naming it for fomenting a proxy. He talked about extending full cooperation on nabbing Dawood Ibrahim. He also lashed out at Pakistan without naming it for fomenting a proxy war. The question we are asking on Spotlight tonight, is this a strategic strike for India?
Regardless of the names, there is a process, there is a legal process, there is a judicial process, and there are agreements. There is an agreement signed between the United Arab Emirates and India in terms of the exchange of criminals and so on and so on. So regardless of the name, whether ABC or XYZ, we work very closely with India. We collaborate, and we are against act of terrorism. Now, whether this individual is leading a group of people and that individual at certain time was condemned for certain action, I don't know. But I know the main goal, and we work very closely with Saudi Arabia, with the other GCC countries, with some other Arab countries, with the Muslim countries, the Islamic states, in order to fight those extremists, those people who claim to be Muslims and to carry the flag of Islam, and they are not.
It will help our case and to get into bottom of the things which we were unable to get in earlier times. Not only the United Arab Emirates, but various countries in the Middle East and even in Southeast Asian nations like Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam. These are very important countries. So encompassing entire belt, which is directly related to India's concern, most of the countries are turning out to be our strategic partners, which is very important. So it will pay a very huge dividend for India.
This is a NewsX Exclusive. UAE confirms and assures to India in an interview by the envoy of UAE to India that Dawood Ibrahim's operatives will not be allowed space in the United Arab Emirates, that there is a strategic cooperation agreement that will be signed between India and UAE when the Crown Prince comes visiting to New Delhi for the Republic Day parade. Visitor journalist Jitendra Behera in New Delhi, Geeta Mohan for NewsX.
And joining us this evening is a very special panel to take this discussion forward. We have Vivek Karju, former Secretary of the MEA, with us, Jeebil Narasimha Rao, National Spokesperson of the BJP, and Tom Vadakkan, National Spokesperson of the Congress Party. Good evening to all of you. Mr. Karju, to you first. The UAE is talking now like an ally of India. Arab soldiers will be marching in India alongside ours for the first time on Republic Day celebrations. Is this a strategic strike, according to you?
I think India's relations with the UAE are growing strong. They've always had a certain element of strength in them, a certain strategic coincidence of interest. And my memory goes back to 1981 when I was posted in the UAE when Prime Minister Indira Gandhi came visiting. And even at the joint statement which was issued at that visit also emphasized that there was a strategic coincidence of interest between India and the UAE. And that process is carried forward, and I must say the contribution of Prime Minister Modi to this process has been immense. And that was witnessed during the Prime Minister's visit to the UAE last year. It will be good that Prince Mohammed, the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, Sabi will be the chief guest for the Republic Day. But let us not overread in what the excerpts, at least the excerpts that you have telecast today of the ambassador's words. I'm always very cautious of what an ambassador says. He tries to say good things. I've remained an ambassador myself. So the proof of the pudding will actually be in the eating. And strategic partnership agreement, if it's signed, will be a diplomatic success. But let us focus on the specifics of what we achieve rather than generalities.
Fair point you made there. G.V. Narasimha Rao, how significant, according to you, is the visit of the Crown Prince of the UAE on Republic Day in terms of diplomatic optics?
No, Palki, I think it's a very, very significant visit, what you're going to witness, because the Crown Prince, it's a departure for the last 50 odd years. I think we have not had not a monarch, or we have never had a head of for the Republic Day as the chief guest, a head of government, or someone who's not a head of state. So it's a huge honor that India is bestowing, given, and it's a fitting honor. No, I said other than monarchs. So monarchs, head of state and head of government. So this is a very special occasion, special honor, and there is a strategic partnership or a strategic agreement that is likely to be discussed. You see, what is important is UAE has been a very close military strategic ally of Pakistan, and so therefore it's very important when we have a very close cooperation with them, when they have actually moved very tangibly and effectively in taking action against people who are declared global or UN global terrorists, particularly the case of Dawood Ibrahim. I think the interview, he specifically, I think you've asked this question, and they gave you an assurance that either Dawood or his aides will not be allowed to really operate out of UAE. I think these are, I think these we see as certainly very significant and important movements in this partnership, and certainly this will serve both the countries very, very well. So I think it's a very significant and an important visit, and also our relations will certainly become stronger in the course of this visit.
Tom Vadakkan, do you and by extension your party agree with this assessment?
Well, if relations improve, that is a forward-moving step. But the problem here is, if the only agenda on the table is Ibrahim Dawood, and the next attempt to grab headlines from the demonetization is the agenda, well, I mean, that's another issue. But there are various issues which are on the table. 16 agreements are to be signed. Avoidance of double taxation, protection of investment. There are very, very fundamental issues, Mr. Rao, beyond Dawood Ibrahim. Dawood Ibrahim is one issue which you need. But there are also other people who we need, is Lalit Modi. You must have a very good relationship with Britain to get Vijay Mallya. And these are exercises you must continue doing. I appreciate your effort. Our Prime Minister is doing an excellent work in terms of very focused attention on how to get away from domestic problems. That apart. But I must appreciate that there is a forward movement. 16 agreements, I am told, are to be signed, and the Crown Prince is coming in. And there has been members of the royal family from the royalty or who have been coming. But yes, the Crown Prince is something different. Okay, be what it may, the relation between these countries have been good. They are continuing to be good, and we hope and pray that it just doesn't end on Ibrahim Dawood. It needs to go further. That's the only point in caution that I want to bring about in this discourse.
Mr. Kaju, would you agree that the differences between Pakistan and UAE are growing because of very many reasons? They wanted troops to be sent for the fighting in Yemen, the attack in Afghanistan, and a lot of other things. So it seems that UAE is now shifting closer strategically to India, and the government of India only has to benefit from that.
Look, I think there is an acknowledgement not only in the UAE States and Saudi Arabia too, of India's growing weight in international affairs. And once that acknowledgement comes in, then it's only natural that they do not equate and will not equate India and Pakistan. They realize that their interests in India are very wide and very deep. India will be a source for their energy supplies. The UAE is conscious that there is an Indian market. And given this, it is only natural that their relations with India will be on a different footing, in a different league altogether as time passes. Successive governments have contributed to this process, and the Prime Minister, Prime Minister Modi has made, and our diplomats, our present diplomats have contributed to this process too in very significant measure. And all the opportunities are being used by the present government to pursue our interests in the Gulf effectively. And I, for one, appreciate the policy endeavors that are being implemented today. So let's not try to equate UAE, India and Pakistan relations. Pakistan, they realize that Pakistan will be a sideshow. There are things that bind them with Pakistan. Islam is one, the Pakistani labor is another. Pakistan offers them the kind of facilities for shikar, for example, which we never will and we've never done. So now there is this consciousness that India is a different game altogether, and we are using that.
Tom Barakan, in August 2015, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited UAE. He was the first Indian Prime Minister to do so in 34 years. Would you concede, sir, at least, that these visits, which the Congress party, for one, criticized vehemently, are finally probably bearing some fruit?
Palki, I want to repeat what you said. I didn't say this. You said it is a great way forward in diplomatic optics. Yes, optics, yes. It is a Kodak moment. There is an occasion where the Prime Minister has gone, and the MEA is also counting where Prime Minister has gone for the first time. It's like, he has discovered that country in his last trip. Relations are good. We need to improve upon it. We are not questioning all that. But point is, you must extend beyond your myopic vision of trying to get one person and then you say about relationship. I am all in agreement in relations, because for my state, a large number of people are employed there.
Right.
And there are huge issues, double taxation issue, then there are camp workers in the camp who are in very bad shape. Now, these are issues that need to be addressed. And there was a promise from UAE earlier, if somebody bought a property there, he would be given a working visa. Now, all that is there, but the point is, we need to remain focused, and we are talking about India, not just about one government that has come and that will go. We need to go beyond that. India has a national interest, and focusing on those national interests, it would be very useful if Prime Minister is able to gain what he has promised he would do.
Sure. Mr. Kaju, I know you want to make a point. I have to take a very short break. I'll come back to you, sir, first thing. Welcome back. You're watching Spotlight with me, Vivek Kaju, Jeeval Narasimha Rao and Tom Barakan. Mr. Kaju, you wanted to say something.
No, all that I wanted to say was that I think it will be less than generous if we were to say that the Prime Minister has not tried to invigorate certain relationships through his personal visits. The UAE, for example, there was a very successful visit, as I mentioned, of Mrs. Indira Gandhi in 1981, and thereafter, I think many diplomats, Indian diplomats, felt that the visit required a certain nourishment, and that nourishing comes through prime ministerial visit. So this was a good thing that took place, and that doesn't mean that earlier governments and all governments have not tried to enhance the relationship with the Gulf and other Arab Peninsula countries. The fact is that India has massive economic, commercial, strategic interests in the Arab Peninsula, so everyone has tried to do it. So I don't think we need to be less than generous with the present Prime Minister's efforts.
Mr. Narasimha Rao, the ambassador has spoken about Pakistan's role in fomenting a proxy war without naming Pakistan, and of course experts like Mr. Karju believe that you have to see the action. You know, these words are all fine. How much is the government of India going to push for any sort of action or adding to the pressure on Pakistan? And I do not want to oversimplify the equation between the three countries, but when we are talking about deepening strategic ties, what is India getting in the bargain?
No, I think we are. You see, the Prime Minister has been focusing on terrorism on all the international platforms. So you had to really win over friends in the region itself. You have to have countries like we have actually. Look at the SAARC countries which border Pakistan, be it Afghanistan, Bangladesh, which are largely Muslim countries, 99% Muslim countries. They have all boycotted Pakistan. They have all boycotted SAARC summit in Islamabad because they unequivocally stated that Pakistan.
You're saying this too is an attempt to isolate Pakistan?
So I think it's not a mean achievement. No. You cannot have. You don't have, when you have your foreign policy goals. You don't really have you don't have a single goal policy. So certainly that's one of them. For us, terrorism is a major menace wherever it emanates from, and certainly Pakistan is a major exporter of terrorism. Therefore, not just India, the whole world has to consider tackling this problem of terror from export of terror from Pakistan. For us, I think Prime Minister, wherever he visited in the last 2 years, it may be difficult for the Congress party, it is difficult for them to accept, but the world has accepted him to be a global leader. He ranks among the most influential global leaders in the world today. And that has certainly given
the Congress Vice President said no Prime Minister has been more ridiculed the world over, by the way. The Congress Vice President said no Prime Minister has been more ridiculed the world over, by the way.
Now, I don't want to comment, I don't want to make this debate silly. I don't want to comment on silly comments of Rahul Gandhi, who is not taken seriously by people back home itself. We are discussing a more serious topic.
Sure.
So today, Prime Minister is taken seriously all over the world. He's emerged as a global leader. He's been able to really put certain issues like terrorism on the global agenda, and that has certainly helped us not only win friends, also to sensitize sensitize opinion of the global leaders towards the problem of terror. You see, they have had UAE diplomats were actually, there was an attack in Kandahar a few days ago.
Right.
I think they are as much now suffering terror as we are. Afghanistan has suffered immensely. Bangladesh has had a major attack, Dhaka attack. So
right.
Certainly all the countries, I think independent of the fact that they all are largely Islamic countries, they realize Pakistan is a country that cannot be really, their crimes cannot be glossed over. They
right.
are a country infested with terrorists and exporting terrorists to the world.
Sure. I'm out of time on this. We'll wait and see what comes out of the visit. Thanks very much, all three of you, for joining us here on Spotlight. That's all on this show. Thanks very much for watching.